birth among the species of demoniac life, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. The Supreme Personality of Godhead not allow anyone to act against the stringent laws of material nature. Therefore, illicit sex is punished life after life. Illicit sex create pregnancies, and these unwanted pregnancies lead to abortion. Those involved become implicated in these sins, so much so that they are punished in the same way the next life. Thus, in the next life, they also enter the womb of a mother and are killed in the same way. All these things can be avoided by remaining on the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness. In this way, one does not commit sinful activity. Illicit sex is the most prominent sin due to lusty desire. When one associates with the mode of passion, he is implicated in suffering life after life. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तमस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. First of all, I seek blessings from all the assembled devotees so that we can discuss something worthwhile on this Srimad Bhagavatam, and especially this section, the material world as a great forest of material enjoyment. Having been instructed by Jad Bharat, Rahugan continued his life, and then this chapter is being further explained by Shukdev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. So in the forest of material enjoyment, where all the living entities are struck, the various ideas of forest are being described. So there is forest fire, and there is honey bees, then there is concept of so many different things in which a living entity is stuck. So now in this today's verse, there is a description, further elaboration on what is called as whirlwind. In today's discussion, we will see three major concepts of what this verse described. One is that how when the whirlwind comes, we become blinded. We just don't see what is there in our front. Like when a whirlwind rises, we just cannot see through what's happening next. So, when a person is attracted by the beauty of an opposite sex and thinks that he can enjoy illicit sex, so that is described as whirlwind. So, why it is described, that we will see with few examples. The second thing that is described in this verse is that Digdevatas. Digdevatas means people who are witnessing all our activities. Whether you are under CCTV or not, all our activities are witnessed by the agents of Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is one concept. And the third concept that is being described is the punishment that awaits for a person who indulges in sinful activities. So the first thing what we will see here is how lust blinds a person, and he does not see that how I can be punished after having engaged in that. So there are classical examples of how Hare Krishna. So there are classical examples in the scriptures how lust of one person can of course destroy him, but not just him, but next few generations also. There are examples of Ravana, and there is also example of Shantanu. So we know that Shantanu was a king of Hastinapur. At least at those times, more than 5,000 years back, the king of Hastinapur was king of entire planet. Hmm. So two times in his life, he got blinded by lust. Hmm. The first time he got blinded when he saw Ganga, a heavenly damsel who was born on earthly planet because of a curse. The same curse even Shantanu had, but he himself didn't knew that I am born in this earthly planet because of a curse. Hmm. So he proposes to Ganga. He sees that Ganga is a very beautiful lady, and I am the king of the entire planet. Like if a king of an entire planet proposes to a beautiful woman, the woman cannot say no. Hmm. He has power. He is a Kshatriya. Hmm. So, but Ganga had a condition. She said that whatever I do, you should not question me. Whatever I do, you should not question me. So the king of Hastinapur, Shantanu, he thought that what will she do? She might spend money, or she might have more riches, or she might take for more luxury. Why will I question? And the Shantanu said, yes, 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 no problem. I will marry you. Whatever you do, I will not question. So already he got blinded by lust. Hmm. So then after Ganga gets married to Shantanu, she begets children. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And after each birth, Ganga goes and drops the child in the nearby river. And Shantanu was shocked. How can she do like that? Hmm. And when the eighth child, she was doing the same thing. She says that this is because of a curse. 8 Vasus were supposed to be born. And now that you questioned me, this Vasu needs to live his full life. So I'll come back after 16 years after training him. And then till that time, my life of curse is gone. The curse that I had earlier is relieved by giving this birth to 8 children, and I am gone. So the Ganga was actually not interested in Shantanu. She was interested in getting relieved of the curse that she had. And Shantanu didn't knew all this. And Shantanu, she left. Ganga left with Devavrata, and then comes back after 16 years. Very long time. And she hands over saying that my duty is finished. I am going back. I am liberated from that curse. Now Shantanu, in the meantime, he gets enticed with a lady called Satyavati. Although he had a son of a marriageable age, son is 16 years old, at least. Some places it is described the son was 25 years old. But whatever may be the case, the son is very grown up. The Shantanu might be far of a greater age. But still he is thinking that I will marry this lady called Satyavati. Now what is the pretext? The pretext is that I should have more children. Of course, the kings are allowed to have more children, but not at the cost of your own disruption of family. Imagine Devarat is going to Satyavati and telling that my father will get married to you, I will fulfill all your conditions. The Satyavati also had conditions. When Shantanu proposed Satyavati for a marriage, Satyavati plus his father had special conditions. That the son born out of Satyavati will become king. So Shantanu could easily see that his lust is blinding him. Devavrata was the rightful king. But just because he had this lusty desires with Satyavati, he had to give the kingdom to somebody else who may not be as powerful Kshatriya as Devavrata. Because Devavrata had a special chance to be trained under Parshuram. That was special chance that he got. Not everyone gets that chance. But still, Shantanu somehow agreed that okay, for my lusty desires, I can sacrifice my kingdom's righteousness. And then he gets married. Then there are 2 children, Chitrangad and Vichitraveer. And then both of them die without begetting children. And then Vyasadev somehow intervenes, and then next generation is born. So this lust or illicit sex punishes the person also, and the persons, along with the persons, the family and generations also. Hmm. And generally, when a person commits illicit activities, illicit sexual activities, he thinks that nobody is watching me. Hmm. And somehow I'll just get away from it. Right? This is a general idea. Hmm. They try to manage their life in such a way that my illicit activities are not watched by anybody. Hmm. But the Dig Devatas are not like that. Whatever activity you do, the Dig Devatas keep a record, whatever this person is doing. Hmm. So there are the Yamaraj and their assistants. Hmm. Like one of the assistants' name, the primary assistant name is Chitragupta. Gupta means very secretive. Chitra means takes a photograph. Chitra. Hmm. So the moment that you think that nobody is watching you, you may turn around and see that if there are CCTVs watching me. Hmm. And sometimes somebody is doing a wrong thing, he goes and watches, are there CCTVs around? Hmm. You may watch like that, be secured like that, but definitely Chitragupta will take a photo. Hmm. Like sometimes when we drive a bike, and we think that the traffic police is not watching us, but after some time we get a challan with a photograph, and we are surprised. When was this photograph taken? Huh? And once the photograph is there, or rather the proof of your sinful activity is there, you cannot deny. The photo shows that you are breaking the rules. Similarly, after having committed so many sinful activities in this world, when the Yamaraj comes, you cannot say, I have not done any sinful activity. And the Yamaraj plays a video, see? And you are surprised. Where was this CCTV? Dig Devatas. We have observed all your activities. So similar context comes in the life of Ajamila. Ajamila was, in the beginning at least, he was a very righteous man. And the whirlwind described here in this Bhagavatam verse, the whirlwind enters his life in the forest of material enjoyment in the form of a prostitute. It is not that he sees only a female prostitute, he sees male prostitute and female prostitute enjoying. And that whirlwind destroys his life completely, just like a whirlwind can do. So his mind is meditating on that prostitute, how a man and woman are enjoying. And he thinks that the religious enjoyment that he has with his wife is of no worth, and then he gives up his wife and brings a prostitute. And with prostitute, he begets 10 children. And even at the age of something like 80 or somewhere, he's still begetting children. His 10th son is very, very small when he was 80 years old. So much of lust. A man can be blinded that his whole life goes in the lust only. What have you done? Only lusty desires. In the whirlwind, you got lost. So Ajamila, somehow at the end of his life, he chants the name of Narayana, and then immediately he sees that Dig Devatas or the Vishnu Dutas and the Yamadutas. Yamadutas come and show his sin card. Just like sometimes we maintain a sadhana card. We maintain how much sadhana we do. So the Vishnu Dutas maintain sadhana card and the Yamadutas maintain our sin card. So the Yamadutas started counting sin card. Illicit sex after illicit sex. What is the punishment? Life after life, punishment. And the Vishnu Dutas also maintain your sadhana card. Like we, more than we precisely maintain our sadhana card, the Vishnu Dutas maintain our sadhana card more precisely than us. How many times he has chanted the name of Narayana? How many times in his life he has internally taken shelter of Krishna? How many times he has worshipped the Lord, prayed sincerely to the Lord? All this is recorded. The Vishnu Dutas had their sadhana card. Not much was there. He said just chanted one name, Narayana. And then the Yamadutas had to give up, saying that by your weightage is more. So when the Yamadutas go back to Yamaraj, then the Yamaraj says, my dear assistants, don't think that only you are the Dig Devatas, you are the observing persons. The 6th canto, I don't remember the verse, It is described that there are 13 different personalities or agents of personalities who observe our activities, like sun, moon, the directions, the sky, the earth. Like that, there are 13 personalities or concepts of personalities described who observe our activities. Hmm. We may try to manipulate few things and escape the punishment of this government. Hmm. Like you do some sinful activity and it is not being observed or there are no eyewitnesses, you can escape the court's punishment. You can try like that. It might be possible sometimes. But in the eyes of Yamaraj, or rather in the eyes of Supreme Personality of Godhead, nobody is excused from the punishment. The punishment is always there. You cannot say that I will do a activity and I will be escaped from that. So Prabhupada is writing 2 times in the purport that by the act of illicit sex, there are sometimes pregnancies created. Sometimes a man and woman think that, we will enjoy illicit sex very freely. When there is pregnancy comes, and the man and woman, or sometimes only woman decides that I will go for abortion, thinking that we will only want the enjoyment part of that. Then what happens is that in the next life, again and again, you will have to be forced to go through that. A child who is not even born and is killed by mother, then the mother or the father or both have to endure the same pain. So in this way, illicit sex, Prabhupada writes, illicit sex is never excused. And the punishment is very, very grave. So the next thing of this particular verse is that when we get engaged in illicit sex or any sinful activities, we don't see the future implications. So now we are in the 5th canto, 14th chapter. The 5th canto, if we go to 26th chapter, the title is The Hellish Planetary Systems, Description of Hellish Planetary Systems. Can we go 5th canto, 26th chapter, 20th verse? 26th chapter, last chapter. 26th. So in the hellish planetary system, there is description of special planet that is being given to every type of sinful activity. Like just like sometimes we feel that we should be given VIP treatment. Wherever I go, there should be a special room for me, special allocation for me. So the Yamaraj also feels like that. Every sinful man should be given special treatment. One planet for one type of sinful activity. Like if you commit 4 major types of sinful activities, that is no illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, meat eating. Every type. Even that, even in that there is sub-category of sinful activity. Right? So then what happens is every type of activity you will get a special planet. And what happens in that planet we will see. 26. A man or a woman who indulges in sexual intercourse with an unworthy member of opposite sex is punished after death by the assistance of Yamaraj in the hell known as Tapta Surmi. So anybody performs illicit sex, there is a special planet. There's a planet called Tapta Surmi. What happens there? There such men and women are beaten with whips. The man is forced to embrace a red hot form of a woman, and the woman is forced to embrace a similar form of a man. Such is the punishment for illicit sex. So you go to this description of hellish planet, you will be shocked that all this is awaiting us. Somebody who is engaged in illicit sex. So this whirlwind makes us blind to this reality. And that's why sometimes Bhagavatam and the preachers of the Bhagavatam have to explain such a sinful, such a abominable situation is awaiting you. Just like when Narada Muni saw Mrigari, Mrigari was only enjoying. half killing animals and eating meat. But he couldn't see the future. When the sadhu comes and shows, "Oh, this is your future," he immediately surrenders. So just like there is another example of Nalakuvera and Manigriva. They were born to a very rich father, but because of this intoxication, they were engaged in illicit sex. And when Narad Muni saw that these people, although now enjoying, but very soon they will be ending up in very great suffering. So why don't we deliver him? So Narad Muni stopped seeing them doing illicit activities. And Nalakuvara Manigriva forget about respecting Narad Muni. They ridiculed Narad Muni. That, "Oh Narad Muni, what makes you come here? Are you also enticed in enjoying like us?" So Narad Muni says, "I came to deliver you, but you rascals are not even respecting me." Then he gave a curse that you become trees. The fortune of Nalakuver and Manigriv is that this curse or this punishment for them somehow came through a sadhu. A sadhu gives a curse or punishment, although the person may go through that punishment, but still that will give him a way to get liberated. So Nalakuver and Manigriv were in a form of a tree for a very, very long time, till the time Krishna takes an incarnation. So when we become attracted to Krishna, Krishna's beauty, that is the time when the other beauties become insignificant of this material world. So there is one very interesting and illustrative story of Ramanujacharya and his disciple. We'll just describe that and we'll end the class here. So at one point of a time, around 1000 years back, when Ramanujacharya was in Sri Rangam, there was a very strong, heftily, bodily made man called Dhanurdas. Dhanurdas was a very strong, heavily built, bodily man. And there was a very famous prostitute of those times. So every time this prostitute used to come out of the house, this Dhanurdas used to wait outside his house. And wherever this prostitute used to walk, Dhanurdas used to carry an umbrella on her, and the whole time he used to watch the eyes of this prostitute. So he was so blinded by the lust, such a strong man, but still he is enticed for a prostitute. So once it so happened that in Sri Rangam, there was a procession of Ranganath Swami around the Parikrama marks of Sri Rangam. So Ramanujacharya was following the procession of Ranganath Swami, whilst this guy was just having his umbrella on the top of this prostitute. So when the procession comes, it doesn't come a very simple way. There are elephants, there is pomp and everything. Huge sound of procession that goes around when the Ranganath Swami comes out. However, Ramanujacharya observed that this Dhanurdas is not even paying heed to the procession that is happening. He is enticed with the prostitute's eyes only. He is just watching the prostitute walking, and he's holding the umbrella and he's walking in front of her like that. So Ramanujacharya sends his disciples and calls this Dhanurdas. So Dhanurdas comes to Ramanujacharya and he says that, "Why are you so blinded by this woman? What is so special in this woman that you are not even seeing the procession that has just gone by?" So the Dhanurdas says that these eyes of the prostitute are very, very beautiful. There are no beautiful eyes in this entire world as much as of this prostitute. So Ramanujacharya says, "What if I show you the eyes of somebody who is far more beautiful than this prostitute?" So Dhanurdas says, "No, no, no, not possible. Nobody can be as beautiful as having eyes as beautiful as this prostitute." So somehow Ramanujacharya convinces him that tomorrow morning you come here in the same place, I will show you something very, very beautiful than this prostitute's eyes. So somehow Dhanurdas agrees. Says, "Okay, fine." A lot of conversation there, but I'm just cutting short. So next day when Dhanurdas comes in the morning, Ramanujacharya takes him to Ranganath Swami's darshan, and he prays to Ranganath Swami that please give him some causeless mercy. Otherwise, this guy is going to suffer life after life. So somehow, by the divine darshan of Ranganath Swami, he sees the eyes of Ranganath Swami so beautiful. We also should come every day. We should see the form of Lord, Shri Radha Madan Mohan, and appreciate the beauty of eyes of Shri Radha Madan Mohan. The same way Ramanujacharya, he prayed to Ranganath Swami, please give him this mercy. When once Dhanurdas got that divine darshan of Ranganath Swami and the beautiful eyes of Ranganath Swami, he says that I will dedicate my full life. It doesn't happen so instantly in our life. We see Lord's beautiful form, but somehow by the mercy of Ramanujacharya, he sees the beauty of Ranganath Swami, and he immediately dedicates, says that my life is for Ranganath Swami. Then Ramanujacharya asks, what about that prostitute? He said, no, I don't want that prostitute. But anyways, Ramanujacharya instructs that you get married to this prostitute. Now that in the whole public, he is walking around with the prostitute. He says that you can marry this prostitute, but live your life fully dedicated to Ranganath Swami. So in this way, the scriptures also say that once we get attracted by the beauty of Lord's eyes, the Lord's eyes is in the form of a bow, the two sections of the bow. So the Cupid, the Kama Devata, also shoots the arrows of Kama in the form of an opposite sex. And a man easily gets attracted or being attacked by the Cupid. But if we increase our attachment to Sri Radha Madan Mohan or Krishna's eyes, we see eyes of Krishna and we pray, my dear Lord, let me attracted to you. Then the Cupid's attack also can be avoided. That's why Prabhupada says, all these things can be avoided by remaining on the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness. Because once we get implicated by the whirlwind of illicit sex, then the punishment is life after life after life. And when we come to Krishna consciousness, when we get human form of life, we just don't know. So the positive solution is that we come every day, we pray to Sri Radha Madan Mohan, develop our attachment to Sri Radha Madan Mohan, so that all these unwanted desires of illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, gambling, all that goes away. And of course that happens through a via media of a devotee who is dedicated in the service of the Lord. And that's how we also become attracted to Krishna consciousness. So that's all I thought we can discuss in today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. There can be more examples, illustrations, but these are all expansions of the same concept that is being described in this verse. So thank you all very much. Please forgive me if I have spoken beyond my realizations. These realizations, the realization of what is being spoken is far more depth than just been discussing this with examples. So thank you very much for giving me opportunity, and please forgive if I have done any mistakes. Any questions or comments, please do so. Yes, Hare Krishna.
First of all, thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. You told about 3 points. First is whirlwind, and second you told about the Dig Devta, and future punishment is waiting for you. So in the first point, you're telling about the whirlwind of the illicit sex, and that person will be blind. You give the example of Shantanu. In the Shantanu first case will be there, he attracted toward the Ganga. In the second case, we find out he attracted toward the Satyavati. When he attracted toward the Satyavati, at that time they were born, and age in 16 years age. When Shantanu approaching the Satyavati, then Devarat know all this thing, that this is not a correct thing. But instead of stopping his father, he appreciating his father. So my question is this, Prabhuji. For example, in the particular devotee, same type of situation is going on. He know what is right, what is wrong, but due to his parents or relatives, going into that phase. Then what is the role of the devotee? How he have to be take this and what he have to be do to coming out from these situations?
Okay, fine. I'll answer your question in twofold. One thing is that why Devavrata appreciated Shantanu and then he went ahead and said that no, Shantanu gets married to Satyavati. Most of the times, the character of Bhishma Pitamaha, you will see as to he explains us by doing things what one should not do. The role of Bhishma was a very complicated and very difficult task that Bhishma led. Mhm. Of course, there can be counter arguments and prove that what Bhishma is right. Even Parshuram certifies that there can be no mistake on the part of Bhishma's character. It is right in one sense, but most of the time Bhishma ends up in doing something to teach us what we should not do. Hmm? Like he takes a vow that he will never get married. That is good for us sometimes, but he also forcefully makes Ambika and Ambalika get married to Vichitravir. Then he allows Dhritarashtra and his sons to do what all notorious activities he did. So some parts of Bhishma are for us to learn from his example. Some parts of Bhishma's character is to learn from us, learn to make us learn what we should not do. Hmm? Now, as we practicing devotees, if we see that something is wrong in somebody else's life or in our relative's life, first we should evaluate whether we are the right persons to correct them. Like sometimes we end up trying to correct them just because we are not the right person, it backfires us. So we should appreciate them nor we should try to correct beyond our authority. Suppose one of our brahmachari friend, we see that he is going on a wrong path. We try to correct as much as we are as a friend, and as much as we can just give information to his superior authorities. But we cannot take a decision that okay, you have done a wrong, I will make a publicity, I will openly criticize him or anything like that. So that much, whatever right we have to correct a person, we can do. And sometimes we should not even endure to correct a certain person if he is beyond our scope. Like he is your brahmachari friend, or within this temple we see he is doing something wrong, we can do. Some other temple brahmachari we see if he is doing something wrong, and we unnecessarily try to get into the shoes, thinking that I am the person who is correcting authority. That's why in this verses it are Dig Devatas. Shukdev Goswami is also very carefully telling, nor the king, nor the Supreme Court of India, they are the ones who are rightful persons to give punishment. He says, Dig Devatas, they take care. So at certain scenarios, we should just leave. Let Dig Devatas do their job, not me. Okay? So even for most of the times, you will see Bhishma Pitamaha knows that this is all happening wrong. But he leaves. I will do my duty. Let Dig Devatas do the job. Okay? So thank you all very much. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.